And our coverage on the passing of Cardinal Pell continues with EWTN Rome Correspondent Colin Flynn. Colin, good to see you. You were just with Cardinal Pell just days ago as you covered the passing of Pope Benedict. How did Cardinal Pell seem? What were your impressions of him?
Owen, good evening. Good to talk to you. And it was, as you mentioned, just a few days ago after Pope Benedict the 16th had passed away, myself and an EWTN crew, we went to his papal residence, the papal apartment just next to St. Peter's Square. And I sat down with him to interview him about his memories of the late Pope. And of course, he mentioned in that interview that he was very saddened by the passing. He was more sad than he actually thought he would be, he remarked. And he spoke about the memories of the Pope coming to Australia for World Youth Day in 2008 and what a magical moment that was. But the interesting thing, Owen, is that I actually remarked to the TV crew as we left that Cardinal Pell was in remarkably good form. I've interviewed him maybe 4 or 5 times over the past number of years for various shows on EWTN, and some of them have been long, extensive interviews. But I took note on this occasion, just a few days ago, I said to our team, did you notice that Cardinal Pell was in really good form? He was vivid, he was vibrant, he was talking about his Christmas break, he was asking us about our Christmas breaks, he was looking forward to the new year ahead. And, you know, when you're covering a breaking story, the death of the Pope, we were kind of rushing to get the piece on air. So we thanked him very much for his time, for the great interview he did, and we had arranged to meet him again soon after this to do a follow-up interview. But to answer your question, he seemed in really good form.
Just days ago, that's amazing. 81 years old, Cardinal Pell, still massively influential in the church, a very close friend of Pope Benedict. And then here they die just days apart. And we have, these are two of the great figureheads of Catholicism passing away so close to each other. How does that strike you?
It's interesting, Owen, because when I reflect on the interview that we did a few days ago, and I was asking Cardinal Pell about his memories of Pope Benedict and his legacy, and many of the things it strikes me that he said about Pope Benedict, you could easily take them and apply them to Cardinal George Pell. So, for example, he was saying that he admired Benedict because he was a fearless defender of the faith. He was a fearless defender of church doctrine, even when it won him no fans in certain tribes, or when it went against the social grain. And you could say the exact same thing about Cardinal George Pell, especially when he was bishop in Australia. He was always outspoken on social issues. He was always one to stand up for the Catholic faith, again, even when it went against the prevailing norm, let's say, in society. And when I asked him in various interviews about his robustness, for want of a better phrase, even when he was in prison for 14 months, what got him through? It was always his Christian faith that he talked about, which was just so interesting, his really strong and deeply rooted Christian faith. And he firmly believed that if he did not see justice in this world, he would get justice in the next.
Yeah, I think you had an interview with him once where he said, Cardinal Pell, truth is the only defense for all of us.
That's exactly what he said. He said to me on a number of occasions, truth will always prevail, always. Because there was at one point when he was in prison and it looked like the appeal might not go through. I asked him, but at that point, were you despondent and despairing because you thought I might have to be in this prison cell for years to come? And he said he really wasn't, because as you just said, he knew that the truth would come out sooner or later. That's what he always said. That's what he always maintained. Of course, a legacy is in the eye of the beholder. And in Australia, particularly among Catholics in Australia and the general public, there are a mixed reaction to his passing. I can see this on social media from talking to some colleagues in the Australian media as well. So it depends on who you ask how he will be remembered. But I know for many Catholics, to go back to that very good observation you made, so close together, the passing of Pope Benedict and the passing of Cardinal Pell, two towers in the Catholic Church, it is such a blow to many Catholics all over the world.
Colin Flynn, as always, thank you very much for your insights and your reporting, and we'll talk to you later.